Well, it's that time again. Produce stand time. We still have a lot of work to do, obviously. So, should probably get started immediately. One thing that I know I have to do, obviously, right off the bat is start framing that second side of the wall, or the opposite side over there, because the whole front here is going to be open. And I still don't know if I want to add one in the center here. This gap here is a little bit more than 2 feet, but I don't think that really makes that much of a difference. You're going to have it, you know, on both ends. So I'll start working on getting this framed up. This will be super easy. And then we got to work on, you know, trying to get the roof layout, and basically to the point where, you know, I can start paneling everything, get the roof on, and do it that way. But I know I do have to paint everything. I don't know, and that's one thing I do have to figure out as well. I don't know how much that we want this sitting out in the weather. It'll probably, just guessing, it's probably not going to be out during the winter. I probably won't have this out there during the winter time. This will most likely end up being just a kind of spring, summer, fall type thing. So 3/4 of the year anyway. And if I know it's going to be like raining all day, I don't know if I'll have it out then either, just because I don't really want the rain blowing in. Now we are going to have it facing the road. Prevailing winds usually come from kind of that way, and the road is this way, so it shouldn't really hit. But again, we don't want anything getting, you know, destroyed or wet and kind of all of our work down the drain. So we'll have to play with that a little bit, but I know for certain that I'm not going to have it out during the winter. Pretty sure of that. This is what I've got so far. It's gonna kind of be a really hard slope of a roof. Got a foot drop within, you know, 30 inches or whatever this is. It doesn't really matter. It's never gonna have, you know, like I said, I don't plan on having this out in the winter time, so it's not like it's gonna have weight on the roof. It's not gonna have snow, but the rain's gonna run off really well. So that's kind of what I did for the time being. Kind of put 2 supports here, screwed it fast to here, screwed it there, toenailed it, and then it can actually sit on this and bear weight down. Again, there really should never be any time where this thing's gonna have a ton of weight on it. So at this point, I gotta try and figure something out for the roof line. And I think I kind of have it figured out here what I have to really kind of do. I know I gotta shave some of this because I do want to have kind of like an end. It's basically going to be a lean-to type roof, so I know I gotta do that. I could do multiple different ways, really. I could cut angles and mesh them up here with an angle, mesh the angle down there, or I could just do it simple and, you know, just basically, if I throw this up there, kind of have an overhang front and back, something like that. We could do it, you know, this way. It really doesn't matter because of the short distance of the roof. It really is not going to matter if we lay it on edge or on one of the sides. So I may just leave it on the side because, you know, I'm going to end up having to, since we're doing a tin roof, I'm going to have runners going across. So I'll probably do this to keep the height down a little bit because we are going to have another row going across. Should be ready for some tin on the roof. I really wasn't gonna put this center support in here, but I don't know. Normally when I build roofs, if it's, you know, further apart, I'll do 2 foot, one center for the tin. This was a little bit more than 2 feet from top to top. I think it was like 29 to edge. So it was probably more like 30 whatever between the two, and that just was probably a little bit too much considering this is the only fasten points. So this will give it a third fasten point, and I just think, you know, overall it's gonna be better. This is kind of what it's looking like so far. It's definitely starting to look like something more and more. Basically at this point, I think what I'm gonna do now is jump over to working on the shelf that's gonna go in here. I think it's just gonna be one flat shelf running the whole way across, and then I can start sheeting it. It's coming, it definitely is, but there's definitely a lot more work to do yet. This should go a lot quicker than the chicken house that I built last year. That took like 3 months, so this should go a lot quicker than that. One thing I did notice, and it held for like probably a week or more, I don't really know why, but this tire was completely flat when I came out today. I've been having a heck of a time with tires lately. Now they are old, they are a little bit cracky. I did spray some soapy water around the bead, it wasn't leaking there. So I'm guessing it's just probably seeping around, you know, somewhere in the tire that's dry rotted and cracked. I could buy a whole new assembly. I'm gonna have to price check some things. Most likely what I'll end up doing is, I don't know, maybe getting a tube and just doing it that way. I'll have to see, but for right now, you know, I pumped it up before we started tonight, and it definitely lost some, but it still does have air. So sitting outside for a whole day, it's probably gonna leak for sure and probably be flat by the time we wanna move it. It is what it is. I'll, you know, worry about that when I cross that path. And I think I found an easy solution to mount for the shelf. Very easy. So here you can really get a good look at basically kind of this thing coming together and what it's gonna look like. So my easy solution for the shelf, or basically the platform, basically to hold everything, was just screw into what was already here rather than do a bunch of kind of things we don't really have to. Now I will put some supports here on the inside down so it actually can bear weight, so it's not just hanging on the screws. And we'll probably do one in the center as well, just so that, you know, obviously same thing. And then I think I'll do the same thing here on the back. We'll have to cut this one a little shorter, but that one can get screwed to basically all the studs. And at that point, we'll have to put some supports on the inside, in the center, in the middles, and then we can put our piece of plywood in there. Super simple, super easy. And then we can sheet it. So it's definitely coming along, and it's coming along quick, which is what we want, because the crops are growing fast. And I know I really haven't showed you guys an update really on the garden since we've done it, since we planted it, but it has changed drastically since you've seen it the last time, and for the better. I mean, it is crazy right now. The tomatoes that we planted that were just like that big, you know, this is where we're at now with those. They're about knee high. And then we have some zucchini here. Our onions are doing really well. So this is one of the zucchini I seen yesterday. That thing is absolutely insane. It's like it's growing overnight. And then you step through to some of the rows, then you have 2 rows of beets. And our green beans that we planted right here. The peas, which actually have pods on them now, so those are gonna be coming in shortly. We have cucumbers, we got watermelons, we have some other miscellaneous things up in through here. We did plant some lettuce, had to replant that a couple times. But then up there we have another, I think 2 rows of green beans, and then a row of limas and another row of green beans. So we kind of alternated. This will be our first harvest of green beans, and they will start pushing pods and stuff here very shortly. They're blooming. Then we'll have our next 2 rows and then our last row. So we'll have kind of an alternating harvest for that. But yeah, it really came along really nice. Everything got huge. So yeah, definitely happy with how that turned out. But basically, within me saying all that, that means that I need to get this produce stand done yesterday. It doesn't matter. It's, you know, I think I say we're always super far behind, but at this point, I think we could have had it out a while ago and been selling eggs and stuff like that, but I think we're right on schedule. You know, a lot of that stuff up there is coming in and it's not quite to the point of being able to harvest. So it would be nice to actually have some stuff to be able to put out there right away rather than just eggs. So I think we're right on time. It's definitely a little bit hazy out here from the Canadian wildfires, but hopefully it clears up and hopefully they get that, you know, taken care of up there, because that's terrible. So in the next video, we're gonna tackle getting the rest of the shelf finished up, get that framed in, and at that point, then we're gonna start doing our framing, probably even our roof maybe, depending how things go. The sheeting on the walls and everything on the outside is gonna probably take a little bit, and I gotta figure something out for that tire as well. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, drop a like. As always, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one.